What's up, Middle Georgia Dog Pound? Welcome to another edition of the Middle Georgia Dog Pound Live. I'm your host, Brian, Matt, Kevin. What's up, fellas?
What's up, brother? How you
What's up,
doing?
man?
What a long off week that was, my friends. Long time to go without watching the dogs play. Looking forward to another great week seeing our dogs take it to the Florida Gators. Have no worries whatsoever. But to ensure that we take care of business, we're definitely going to get into it, break down the offense and the defense and what the dogs need to do to pull off a win there in Jacksonville. But before we get into that, a few housekeeping tidbits. I want to remind you guys that if this is your first time on the show, go to streamyard.com/Facebook to get permission to show your comment on the screen. We would love to hear from you. Also, um, in the event that you have an item or a product or a business that you want to promote or you just want to be on the show, hit us up at middlegeorgiadogpound@gmail.com. That's middle GADAWG pound at gmail.com. So looking forward to hearing from you guys. So, guys, as you know, you are not a true dog fan if you are not a Gator hater. That is what I always say. Gator hater to the core, right here on the Dog Pound. I believe all three of us, we hate the Gators more than any other team in the SEC. Um, just cannot wait to take it to them this week. Game's going to be at 3:30 on CBS. If you guys didn't already know, make sure you tune in. We get to hear the infamous Gary Donaldson and just enjoy his commentary the entire game and how he just loves the Gators and talks them all up the entire game. So just get ready for that. So you'll enjoy that piece.
Got a question, real quick.
Go for it.
Do we hear Alabama's being mentioned by Gary over under 5 times?
Yeah, at least 5 times. At least 5 times.
Yeah, I
Because
say
I get on
over.
the field and he will name it. He will say Alabama at least 4 or 5 times in that broadcast.
I'm sure he will. I am sure he will. So as you know, Gators. These colors don't run. They also don't block, kick, catch, tackle, or win either.
Uh,
So you guys, I guess you heard about the statement that came out from the Georgia Florida camp about the game between the universities. Looks like that they are looking into continuing that contract with the city of Jacksonville. What's your thoughts on this, man? I mean, Matt, what do you think about continuing the world's largest outdoor cocktail party?
so it's two sides of the same coin kind of thing to me. Yes, at one end, I know it's all about money. I know that's what it's ultimately what it's about. This is the biggest event that city has each year. Doesn't matter what's going on. I don't care if the president comes to town. There's more people showing up to this Georgia game inside the state, outside the state than any event during that calendar year. So it's about money for them, and I get that. But I would love to have the home and home. I just think there's I just something about having to every other year lose a home game for no reason. It just bothers me. And I just don't think it's fair for us. And then go play in their state. Yeah, it's a neutral site, but it's in their state. And so I know people always say the same thing about us when we play at um, Mercedes Benz. That's our home place because it's in Georgia and Atlanta. But I mean, it's different. So I would like to be back to the home and home, get those recruits in there for the atmosphere, and I think it'd be all great.
I agree. What do you think, Kevin? I mean, do you think that it's a disadvantage for Georgia versus other teams? I mean, you think about Alabama and Auburn. They used to have the Iron Bowl over in Birmingham, right? And was that Pat? Was it was it Pat Dye that was the Auburn coach that pushed to have that game moved to a home and home? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's changed the rivalry at all, in my opinion. You still call it the Iron Bowl, even though it's played at a home and home. What do you think?
I don't think it would change the rivalry at all. I think the only reason it's stuck there is just so rooted in tradition that it's always been played in Jacksonville. Um, I think it'd be beneficial for both programs. I mean, you go back and you look at some of these interviews of these past players, and they're asked, what's the one thing you missed, and they're actually say they actually get to play in the swamp. That's something they never get to experience, and flip that coin, and Florida players never get to come and experience Athens the whole time of their college career. If they want to do a split season, figure out something to still bring some revenue to that city, that's fine. Do a home and home, and then have one game played in Jacksonville because of the tradition. I don't see a problem with that, but I don't know how they'd work that out.
Yeah, I don't either. I think the thing that Georgia is looking at with the new SEC schedule, of adding Texas and Oklahoma into the SEC schedule, is you're wanting to rotate these teams where we're getting the West teams and seeing them on a more frequent basis, and you're not going to be able to do that by having limiting yourself on how many home games that you can have in your stadium, and trying to continue a tradition that only a select few can attend. And I think Matt and I talked about this before the show started, is, folks like yourself and myself and Matt, we can't afford to go to Jacksonville and spend a ton of money on tickets and places to stay and take our family to a football game versus going to Athens and just driving up there for the day and driving back home. So that's what the issue is for me, is just that it's a hassle to go to that game. And I know the folks that, have been doing this for years, and they make that their vacation and stay in over in St. Simon's and have their boats and yachts and stuff that they take to the football games. Those are the ones that have the money, and they probably got the most pull. But I could care less whether we stay down there or not, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's definitely not conducive to your average college football fan, that's for sure. And the other thing is, it's not. This takes away, when it's your home game, this takes away an opportunity to bring recruits into your facility for a big time game, and show off your home field, and show off at Athens tradition, and watch them beat down the Gators.
Absolutely. Well, we had an interesting week in football, didn't we? I mean, I think we kind of missed the mark on a few games, but the one that I feel like that we missed the mark on the most was that Texas A&M South Carolina game. Did not expect Texas A&M to go in and lose that game. That's their third loss in a row of the season. Kevin sent me this earlier. It says A&M really went from a preseason 6 team to a fighting for a spot in the Birmingham Bowl, and Kevin's like, they might not even make it at all. And I'm like, yeah, you're exactly right. Kind of crazy.
Look at the teams that they're fixing to have to go play. I mean, there's a good chance that they don't even go 500 for the season. And who could have imagined that at the start of the season?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you,
Matt.
I said 6-6 at the beginning of the season. You can't return You can't return 7 starters and think you're going to be good.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yes, we talked about what the crazy buyout is. I mean, it's unattainable, I guess, unless you got some super duper oil money, right? But I mean, it's unattainable. I mean, the fans boosters are already asking, so how much was going to cost for Jimbo to buy him out? And so this was the answer they got.
Over $200 billion.
That's a lot of money. A ton of money. More money than I can count. That's for sure. But he loses this week at home. He's going to be on the hot seat. I don't care. He's going to have to fire somebody. Somebody's getting rolled after this week if they lose at home. And I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to get dealt a loss, unfortunately. Well, man, you guys want to get into the Florida Gators? What do you say?
Do it.
Let's do it.
Remember when Lindsey ran? When we pulled off the upset? Remember when Gurley chopped and the whole team flooded the field? From Stafford to Masterclass into Henderson? Remember when Sony broke loose and Cager broke their heart? Oh yeah. Remember when I made that catch?
Mitchell makes the catch. He breaks away. Touchdown!
This game's got a lot of iconic moments. Legends are born on the banks of the St. Johns River. It's a rivalry that stands the test of time.
That's what you want. A little hate, a lot of disdain.
Dogs on top. We were gone.
Georgia and Florida. A stadium split in half. A battle line. Red and black versus orange and blue. 365 days of tension building up for this game. College football's greatest rivalry. This Saturday is no ordinary Saturday. It's this team's moment to rewrite history. This team's moment to take what's ours. This team's moment to be legendary. And that moment's here. So let's take it.
Awesome. That trailer gets me fired up every time I watch it. Cannot wait to see what we can do in Jacksonville. But Mr. Matt, tell us about the Gators, man. Tell us who we need to be looking out for on the Gators offense.
All right, so as we're looking at the Florida Gators offense, in the SEC, they are the number 4 rushing offense in the SEC. I would be expected. I think we all kind of knew that was the deal before we can look at the stats. They're the 12th passing offense as well. And so total offense in general, they are about number 8 total offense in the SEC with a 31 points per game average, which actually surprised me a little bit. I thought it was going to be a little less than that, but 31 points a game that they're averaging in this offense. So as we get the picture up there of their starting quarterback, we call him his nickname is what he says AR-15 or whatever his name was, but Anthony Richardson. He's throwing right now for about 1,300 plus yards. He's got 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I don't think he has first touchdown until the 3rd or 4th game of the season, so he's not very strong. I mean, all the NFL scouts, all the social media, all the mass media across the country love this guy. Start the season and thought he was going to be the next greatest thing next to Cam Newton, and to come to find out he's about as big as a disappointment as most of those folks as we thought he would be on this side of the table. But doesn't mean he's not talented. He does have a strong arm. I think he just doesn't know how to control it. Everything's a fastball. Doesn't make good decisions. As we saw last year, we played him as well. So I think we put some pressure on him, keep him inside the pocket, make him beat us passing and not rushing. I think we should be okay. Our rushing defense is pretty stout, so I think we'll control that aspect of the game. As we get into the running backs, he also is their second leading rusher. I know we have the passing stats right there, but he's also a second leading rusher for them as well, with 670 yards rushing. So I got the next 3 guys up who are their running backs. Their leading running back. They're 70 yards rushing. Their leading running back is Montrell Johnson Jr. He's got 425 yards. The good thing with this team is it sounds bad, but they're a little bit of mirror of kind of how Georgia is. They have a lot of guys they spread the ball out to. So they don't have one big dominant running back. They spread the majority of the running yards out amongst the 4 guys which is Anthony Montrell here, and also a familiar name we have. Our next guy up here is Trevor Etienne. As I say his name. His brother was the running back from Clemson. This is his freshman year there at Florida, and he's already rushed for 334 yards as well. So I think he rushes usually about for 6.3 yards per rush, which is pretty good. I mentioned it with Johnson as well. He's around a 7.2 yards a rush from Johnson. So these guys are making some good yardage, tough yards. they're built like we like running backs here at Georgia as well. So you're going to see a lot of that similarities. And their third, so their fourth leading rusher as well is Nakwe Wright. He's got about 175 rushing yards. He's averaging around 4 yards a carry, but he's the one who has the most rushes for the team. So they like him the most, next to Montrell as well. So the thing with Wright, he is a redshirt sophomore, but he's been there 4 years. So he's got the red shirt and then the COVID year he added in there. So he's been there 4 years. He knows he's really well seasoned, even though he's done a lot of yards on the field. As we get to our wide receivers, their main guy, which is Justin Shorter, really well built guy. I mean, he's a solid player for them. He's a redshirt COVID year junior, so this is his fifth year technically, being there for them. Said good build. He's got 404 yards, receiving, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, this team's not a big passing team, but these guys are solid. You watched the game from last year; he was very present and a hard guy to get down in space. So these guys can move the ball in the air if they get them in some space. Their next leading receiver is a guy named Ricky, Pearsall. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. He's 303 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns as well. Once again, a good solid build guy, good speed guy as well. And then their redshirt sophomore, Xavier Henderson. He was there last year as well, played a lot of time. You saw his name getting called a few times during the Georgia game last year. 252 yards rushing. He's gotten more catches than anybody else on the team. And the most yards, he is most targeted receiver they have. Their offensive line is not super stout. They're not. They're very up and down when it comes to pass protection, but they do like to run the ball. So we'll see a lot of the ball being run by the quarterback out of those play options and stuff. So that's pretty much what we have for the offense.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you going through that. I wanted to make sure that I covered a few things about the Gators. As you guys know, that their mascot happens to be a gator. Got 2 of them, Albert and Alberta Gator. They were named after Albert Einstein. So it's Albert Einstein Gator and Alberta Gator. And apparently the Gators that's been the mascot since like 1911.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff.
Pretty cool.
Billy Napier is the first-year head coach, and he is out of Louisiana Lafayette. Is that what it is? I believe that's right. Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns. And he is getting paid $7.1 million to coach the Gators and turn that program around. Got a couple of Sun Belt championships there, one 2020 and 2021. And then he won the Sun Belt West Division 4 times in 2018 through 2021. So 2-time Sun Belt Coach of the Year. A lot of accolades for this guy. Seems like the players are really respect him, and he is he pulled out a few good recruits there at the end of the year last year too, which kind of surprised me because Florida was like in the bottom, like right at the bottom 50, I believe, in recruiting class, and he ended up getting him in the top 30. So kudos to him. Well, let's get into that defense. What do you say? What you got for us, Kevin?
We just got a couple of players to go over here. First off is Rashad Terrence. He's number 22. He's a safety. He's 6 foot 202. He's a sophomore, and he's an Atlanta native. And he leads the Gators in tackles, 55 total tackles. The biggest game he had came against Tennessee with 13 tackles. He is their leader in the backfield. If you watch any of the games, this guy's all over the field, kind of like Christopher Smith is with us. This guy is an impact player and keep your eye out for him to try to make some big plays in the backfield, create some turnovers, just kind of create havoc with our receiving core. Second is Ventrell Miller. Is number 51. He's a linebacker, 6 foot, 221. He's a senior. He's got 50 tackles with 1 forced fumble. He has become a bigger impact player as the season has progressed. His biggest games came against Missouri and LSU, with 10 tackles in the Missouri game, 11 tackles in the LSU game, for 21 tackles combined. This guy is he's a pretty formidable force in their linebacking core. He looks to disrupt the run game and create havoc on the line. And a third player is Amari Burney. He's 6'2", 228. He's a linebacker. He's a senior. It seems like they got several senior linebackers, which helps with their leadership and their on their defense. He's had 44 tackles, 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. And his biggest game came also against Tennessee with 8 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. So just keep your eye out for these senior linebackers as we go into this game. And last but not least, a name that we're all familiar with is Brenton Cox. He's a UGA transfer. He is number 1. He's a junior, 6'3", 252 pounds, 33 total tackles, 2 sacks. He's a familiar, he's familiar with our offense, because he spent time at UGA and kind of has an idea of how they're going to operate their offense. But one of the main reasons that I put him on our watch list is he had the gall earlier in the season to put out this nice little tweet that we see here. And I don't think that he remembers too well of what UGA did. As you can see there, it says, "Better get ready for me." I think you should show that little clip of what Stetson did to him last year in the little rivalry game.
They fake it to him. Cox giving chase on Bennett. Bennett's going to take off on his own. Stetson Bennett inside the 10. That was beautiful. I think.
So, yeah, he might want to go back and check himself at the door before he starts putting out tweets like that. So,
yeah, Brenton Cox is number 1 on the field and number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, guys, what do you want to see out of Georgia this week? I mean, what do you want to see on the field? What kind of improvement, I guess, is what I'm looking for? What improvement are you looking for from the team against Florida that will set us up going forward?
I think the main thing is just to continue to improve on our run game. I mean, they made tremendous strides in the past, 2 games?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be another opportunity to continue to improve on that run game and just make it more dynamic. I also want to see more of the tight end show that we've been seeing. They have developed new impactful ways to get these tight ends involved. And with our receiving core injured the way it is, we've definitely got to use the assets that we have on hand.
Got you. Matt, what you think, buddy?
So I think offensively, I want to see us be more consistent on third downs. I think early this season, we were really converting on third downs, no matter if it was 3rd and long or 3rd and short. And I think that's really what helped us sustain drives. So even if it's, come Saturday, if we don't, put points on the board, I don't want to see 3 and outs. I want to see us get third downs and move the ball, keep their defense on the field. And even if it's lining up for a field goal, I want to see us convert more on third downs. On defensively, I don't want to see us give it the big play. That's been kind of our Achilles heel for us. And some of the defensive stuff that's been affecting games with us is giving these teams opportunities to stay in the game by giving them big plays. So with this run game, they're going to put a lot of pressure on our defensive line. And so with that, we need to make sure our linebackers are in their right gaps and not giving up these big runs like we did with Missouri. And so things like that, I want to see the improvement on and producing some turnovers or some sacks either way.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely want to see some more pressure on the quarterback. And Kirby talked a little bit about that in the press conference and whatnot, that teams are very aware of our speed and they're getting the ball out in a very quick amount of time. But we've got to find ways to get there, got to get home. And if we can't get home, then you're going to have quarterbacks pick us apart. So, well, guys, I got a pretty cool surprise for you. I got a guest that has joined us who is well renowned to our program, asking for a few lottery numbers, but he's hit on a few games and been trying to get him on, and I'm so happy to have him come on, Mr. Hunter Ivy. Woo! What's up, buddy? You doing all right, man?
Oh yeah, I was talking to my dad. He was giving me a cancer update. But
I got you. Well, so glad to have you on, bud.
oh yeah.
Love having you comment on our show. Give us your great game predictions and good comments. And so we're very glad to have you on the show.
Oh yeah. It's good to be on here.
Yeah.
And talk football.
That's right. Well, we're going to jump into the Week 9 games, Hunter, and hear what you have to say about these games. All right?
Let's go.
Do it. So the first game is I threw this in at the last minute. And the reason I threw it in is because if Texas A&M loses this game at home, somebody's going to get fired. So, Matt, I want to hear what you think about this game. Who do you think is going to pull this one off, buddy?
So it's Ole Miss and Texas A&M, right?
Yeah, at A&M.
Like I said, before we talked about earlier, is that Ole Miss that has their defense is not very good. We've seen that. So I think, but all at the same time, that they don't have to be that good against Texas A&M's offense, is terrible. I mean, Texas A&M struggles to score 20 points every game. So I really truly believe that Ole Miss will go in there after their embarrassment of a loss, and they will come in and beat Texas A&M on the road, and Jimbo will fire his offensive coordinator by Monday.
Yeah, something's got to happen for sure. Kevin, what do you think, buddy?
I'm kind of in agreement with Matt on this one. I think that that Ole Miss is coming off that embarrassment, and I know Texas A&M is too. But this is like A&M's got the epitome of what we would describe as a dumpster fire going on right now. And we thought it was going to be all on Auburn, but I think Texas A&M has taken the cake on this one. I think Ole Miss comes in here and takes care of business, and I think it's going to be a big win, probably by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I like that. What you think, Hunter?
Well, this is it's a must-win for both teams. I mean, Texas A&M is paying Jimbo Fisher $10 million a year to win 4 games, but I think Ole Miss takes it by 17.
I like that. Like it. Well, this is the games that Mr. Matt picked out. Kentucky versus Tennessee at Tennessee. Just heard today that Tennessee was going to be in a blackout. They're going to be wearing a black helmet, and a black jersey, and black pants. They're calling it dark mode. So it should be an interesting game. Matt, tell me what you think about this one, buddy.
I just think this the thing with Kentucky is they play up or down to their competition. That's why we can never tell what Kentucky we're going to get. they're a solid team, yes, but they haven't shown the consistency like we saw last year. So I know they got their quarterback back and they helped them win the game last week. And if it's not for the turnovers there in Ole Miss, they beat Ole Miss too. They could be undefeated as well. So I think this game will be closer than people are expecting. But I do think the crowd, the atmosphere in Tennessee will ultimately get to Kentucky in the fourth quarter. And I think Tennessee pulls out the win, maybe by 10 points in the fourth quarter.
I like it. I like it. What you think, Hunter?
Well, you heard about, everybody knows about Hendon Hooker and Tennessee's offense. Kentucky is actually their defense. They're a well defensively coached team. And I think Tennessee may be looking into who they play next week, because next week will determine their whole season. It doesn't matter how the first 8 weeks went. Next week determines the whole season for Kentucky. So I think this is a trap game for Kentucky or for Tennessee. I think Kentucky pulls it out by 7.
Woo! What you think, Kevin?
Fingers crossed.
I'm gonna concur with Hunter Ivy. You never know what you're going to get with Kentucky, but I think this is the one that they know that Tennessee is overlooking them. They're looking to Georgia. They're looking to come to Athens and upset Georgia's season and make that SEC championship appearance. That's what they're looking for, and they're looking past Kentucky. This not even on their radar, and Kentucky knows it, and they are going to go into their house and upset them. I got Kentucky winning 38-34.
Wow. I like it. I like it. Yeah, the spread had Tennessee at 12.5 points, and I don't know, man. I think that's a lot. I think Kentucky's going to be ready to play. Will Levis, I think he's going to be closer to back to 100% this week, and so you're going to see a different Kentucky team than you saw the last few weeks. So, but it's still at home. Tennessee's going to be ready. The crowd's going to be raucous, and it's going to be a tough environment for Kentucky to play in. So I'm going to give this one to Tennessee and a nail biter. I'll take Tennessee by 3 on this one. I think Kentucky covers the spread, but I'll take Tennessee to win it. All right, on to our next one, Ohio State and Penn State. What do you think about this one, Matt?
This is the I don't care bowl, but the answer is I'm going to pick Ohio State. Ohio State has played nobody. I mean, if we look at their schedule, the best team they've played so far is Toledo, and so there's only 3 teams in the entire country who are in the top 10 in offense and defense. Georgia's one of them, Michigan's one of them, and Ohio State. Ohio State is that way because they have played nobody. This will be their first challenge, and so if they can do what Michigan did, then it'll just show us that Penn State's not is an average team. They're not that great, but if Penn State can use that home field advantage and really take it to them, I think it could be an interesting game. Ultimately, I think Ohio State will come out there and be the lucky Ohio State like always and throw for 3-4 touchdowns in the first 2 quarters and just take it away by the third, fourth quarter.
Yeah, I agree with you. What you think, Kevin?
Well, I had a nice little conversation with an Ohio State fan about how they had not played anybody with any kind of defense earlier this week, and they tried to make me believe that Iowa was the team that they played that had the best defense. And I was like, if that's the best you got, y'all are really, really bad off. But I digress. They're going to – Ohio State has played, I think, has beaten Penn State, I think it's 15 out of 16 times they played them, something like that. It's something ridiculous, and the track record is not very good for Penn State. I think this is one that Ohio State kind of has in the bag. It's kind of one of those gimme games that they know they're going to win. I got Ohio State winning this one 45-36.
I like it. I like it. Hunter, what you think, buddy?
This isn't even going to be a game. Ohio State's too strong. I mean, yeah, Penn State's playing at home, but I mean, Michigan blew them out. Ohio State by 35.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. You are probably right, my friend. Yeah, it's going to be a blowout. That is for dang sure. Right now, they got Ohio State by 15.5 points. I think they easily cover that. It's going to be an embarrassment for Penn State, unfortunately. Well, the next one is Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well
say
be Kent
Kent.
State.
I almost said Kent State. I was like, what? Wait a minute. What you think about this one, Hunter?
Well, Kansas State let me down last weekend. I picked them, but I'm going with them again by 10.
I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. What you think, Matt?
All right. So this game's going to take about 5.5 hours to watch. So if you can decide you can stay that late and watch this game, then best to see. I'm going to take the Cowboys because I think they have more to gain and to lose with a loss or a win. So I'm just going to stay with the away team and take the Cowboys.
I like it. I like it. What you think there, Kevin?
I think this one is a no-brainer, and you got to go with Oklahoma State. I think this is just going to be who can outscore who, and I think Oklahoma State's going to do it. It's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I got them 43-41.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it. Well, Arkansas and Auburn. Ugh. I heard Matt go, ugh.
Oh, my goodness.
Kevin, what do you think about this one, buddy?
I don't even know what to think anymore.
I don't know.
Arkansas has let me down so many times. It is ridiculous. But you know what? I've got to stay with Sam Pittman. I'm going to go with this one. It's going to be a close one. Arkansas pulls it out 31-27.
I like that. Matt, what you think, buddy?
This is why I picked this one because you just don't know who's going to win this game because I mean we knew Auburn was going to be suspect. They were going to be maybe a 4 or 5 win team this year, but no one could have predicted if Arkansas had this much drop off that their defense would be this embarrassing. I'm going to go the opposite just because I don't know, man. I'm gonna pick Auburn. I don't know why. I'm gonna pick Auburn.
You're probably
Nobody will fault
right.
you for that.
No, absolutely not. Hunter, what you got, bud?
Auburn, for some reason, normally Auburn plays tough at home versus on the road. I'm going Auburn by 3.
I like it. I like it. Well, our comments have finally started showing up, guys. John Akaki said he was calling bingo tonight at the Moose Lodge, so that's why he's not on. And then, let's see, that looks like Larry Purvis, I think, was on. I don't know what he was commenting on, but he said that would be crazy. But they're just now showing up. Our comments have been down all night. I got a message from StreamYard saying that they were having a problem and they had no ETA on how to on when it would be fixed. And then all of a sudden they just showed up. So how about that? Just in time for the game of the week. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
That's offensive.
So we're going to let our guest, Hunter, you take this one, buddy. Tell us what your thoughts are on this game.
Well, first of all, I never thought in this game Georgia would be a 23.5-point favorite ever. Rivalry games are normally very, very close. And like Matt said earlier, if you make Florida one-dimensional and make them throw the ball, you will beat them every time. Georgia holds Florida to 75 rushing yards, 225 total yards, and they cover the score. They beat them by 24.
Dude, I love that. Matt, what you think, bud?
I like his head's at.
Me too.
If we keep them under 100 yards rushing, it will be a game of embarrassments. The stat that I threw out there earlier, you guys, was one statistic. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 240 yards in 2 games played. That's in Bennett's stats against Florida, the last 2 games he's played. That's right, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in 2 whole games. So he has not played very, very well at all when it comes time to Florida. So I think we're going to see a much changed Stetson Bennett this time. I think he's going to be a lot more poised, a lot more patient. Doesn't feel like he has to impress or win anything besides just the game. So I think we'll minimize our own turnovers because there will be some choppiness. I think this game will be close the first quarter, and which is fine because that's you've got teams that are playing up to you. They're going to play you hard. They're going to give you all they can. They had a bye week that they had time to strategize. They're going to have the first few series already planned out, and they're going to be ready to go for the first quarter or so. So don't be too worrisome the first quarter, guys. But I think Georgia's eventually going to pull away, and kind of like what Mr. Ivy said there, I'm going to go with 38-10.
I like it. Kevin, what you think, bud?
All right. I think this is a game that they have had 2 weeks to stew on. And it is a game that they are not overlooking. Georgia never overlooks the Gators. As we started this show off, every Georgia fan, every Georgia player hates the Gators, cannot stand them. And that includes our head coach, Kirby Smart. We all know he is a Georgia alumni. And if his halftime speech last year told us anything, he cannot stand the Florida Gators. And he wants to break them every time that he plays them. I think that they're going to be completely ready. I think, like what Matt said, that you're going to see a totally different Stetson Bennett. You're going to see a team that has got their bruises healed up, and they're ready to fire on all cylinders and come out here and whoop this sorry Gators team. And I think it's going to be a huge win. I'm predicting it 45-10.
Woo! Yeah, I like that. I like all of those predictions, guys. Every one of them. I'm going to be a little more cautious. We don't have the defense that we had last year. And if we let Anthony Richardson break out on a few runs and hurt us, that could change the momentum of this game. So one thing that I think we've got to do is keep him contained, keep him in the pocket, let him throw his bullets, because once he throws a few bullets, they're going to get tipped and we'll be able to pick them off. But I still think Florida's going to score 2 touchdowns on us. I think they're going to get 17 points. I'm going to take the Dogs 28-17. And I hope that we score more points to that, but I'm going to be a little more cautious. I'm taking the cautious route. I thought we would score more points on them last year, and we didn't. And so I'm not going to set myself up for disappointment. So 28-17 is my prediction. I think we take over in the third and fourth quarter. I think maybe Florida gets their points early, and then we take care of business in the third and fourth quarter there, and seal the deal. John Akaki says he believes that the score is going to be 35-13. So I like that. Well, what's your keys to the game? Let's talk about that. What do you think is going to be keys for Georgia to win? What do we have to do? Final thoughts here before we sign off the show. Matt, take it away, buddy.
I think I'll just go back to what I said, not giving up the big play on defense. I think, like, just back to your point, if we can keep them from having to getting big plays on us, big chunks of yards in 1 or 2 plays, and make them earn their yardage and make them earn those points, I think we can really contain it. And kind of going back to what Ivy said, limiting their yardage ability. If we can keep them under, to me, we can keep them under 150 yards total rushing between all 4 runners. I think that's going to be a legit opportunity to beat them, I think we'll keep them under 300 yards total offense. But that's my big keys of the game. We can just maintain and not let them have the big play.
I like it. Kevin, what you think, bud?
I think dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive. If we can do that and we can just break them and break their wheel on the line of scrimmage, offense and defense, I think that's going to be huge. I think that goes into play with what Matt was saying. That will keep Anthony Richardson contained as long as we can dominate that line. And I think that'd be a huge, huge thing.
I agree. Hunter, what you think, man? What do you think the keys to this game is going to be?
Well, games like this are always won in the trenches every single time. And as I agree with what both they said, in order for Georgia to pull off this W, we have to, one, contain Richardson and stop those long runs, which you can do that by putting a linebacker spy on him or something like that. But we cannot let him get uncontained, because when he does that, he is at his best. And you have to make him try to beat you with his arm, which he's not going to do. I mean, yeah, he put up, one game he put up 300 yards, but that was against the scrub Tennessee defense. He's not going to do that. We have to contain him and dominate the line of scrimmage, and we will win this game.
I like it. I really think that I want to see some really good play out of our DBs. As you guys know, we heard today that Dan Jackson had a stress fracture. I don't know that we heard exactly where the stress fracture was, but it was likely to require surgery, and he was likely going to be out for the remainder of the season. I mean, as you know, that experienced, we have a very raw DB room, right? So these are all new guys. Chris Smith, Dan Jackson, and Keely Ringo were the veterans, and for us to lose Dan Jackson, it's a big hit to that DB room. So I say all that to say I really want to see these DB step up. I'm looking for big things out of them. I'm looking for big things out of Smile Mondon. We really missed him the past few games that he's been out, and so for me, I think we're going to need to see some good play out of those few individuals that we've been missing out of our defense. But we lost Mr. Ivy. Well, I hate that. But anyhow, guys, I'm sure I'm looking forward to the game. I will be watching it intently. I want to remind everybody, hey, invite your friends to join the Middle Georgia Dog Pound if you haven't done so already. Join in the conversation. Join in the Dog Pound family. We'd love to hear from you. And hit us up on the show. Send us your questions, comments. We definitely want to hear from you. We had to this show. We've had to drag it out because we didn't have a game to recap. But we will definitely be back next week. We were recapping this big win because I know we're going to take it home and take care of those Florida lousy, stinking Gators is what I like to call them.
Swamp lizards.
What was that, bud?
Swamp lizards, right?
That's right, them swamp lizards. That's exactly right. All right, well, let's send this thing out right, guys. All right, guys. So, 30, yes. Get your food ready. Do not leave that television set for 1 second. You're gonna need to be pulling for them dogs so that we can take home some gator tail. Throw that thing on the pit and fire us up with old gator tail for old Kirby. But I'm Brian, Mr. Hunter, Evan, four-finger wonder, Mr. Matt. We're gonna sign off and go dogs.
Go Dogs!